In October 2024, my husband attended a conference in Gran Canaria, Spain, and I joined him on the trip. We flew with Iberia Airlines. We were on the same flight from Washington, D.C. to Madrid, but took different flights from Madrid to Gran Canaria, with about an hour difference between our departures. The flight from Washington, D.C. to Madrid took around 8 hours. It was a long flight, but manageable. The flight from Madrid to Gran Canaria took about 3 hours. And the airfare in October was quite affordable, around $630. I took some photos from the plane before arriving in Gran Canaria. I was excited to see what the atmosphere would be like. Since the conference was held in Las Palmas, the capital of Gran Canaria, he booked a room at the Occidental Las Canteras Hotel near the conference venue. It took about 25 minutes by taxi from the airport. The hotel reservation was made under my husband's name for one person, so even though we stayed in the same room, I had to pay an additional fee. This kind of policy seems different from what we're used to in the US or other countries. The hotel room was basic, but it had a great location and was clean. After checking in on the first day, we looked around for a place to have dinner nearby. Since it was Sunday, the restaurant we found on Google Maps was closed, so we ended up sitting at a nearby place called Tosca La Lonja. The menu looked very much like local Canarian cuisine. Since we weren't familiar with the dishes, we asked the staff for recommendations and ordered based on their suggestions. We ordered sangria, which we love, and the Canarian black potatoes with mojo came out first. This dish is a local specialty, and it was absolutely delicious. The potatoes had a very rich flavor, and the slightly spicy mojo sauce paired perfectly with them. The soupy rice with seafood we ordered that day was incredibly delicious. It tasted like bouillabaisse with rice added, rich and full of flavor, making it the perfect comfort food after our long and tiring flights. After dinner, we went to the nearby Superdino supermarket to buy some simple bread and drinks, then returned to the hotel. From Monday to Thursday, my husband had to attend a conference, so I explored the island on my own during the weekdays. On Monday, I left the hotel in the morning to visit a place called Vegeta. Right in front of the hotel is Las Canteras Beach. It seemed to be the most popular spot in Las Palmas. Along the beach, there's a paved walkway lined with restaurants, cafes, and shops, making it a great place to enjoy a stroll. To get to the area called Vegeta, I first decided to go to the bus stop named Mercado de Vegeta. I waited for the bus at Presidente Alvear, 17, which was the nearest stop to the hotel. Google Maps provided very helpful directions for using public transportation. Originally, I planned to buy a transportation card, which seemed to offer a cheaper fare, but I couldn't easily find a place to buy one. When I asked someone at the bus stop, they told me I could simply tap my credit card directly, so I used my credit card for all the bus rides. The bus was clean and comfortable, and after riding along the coast for about 20 minutes, I arrived at Mercado de Vegeta. At Mercado de Vegeta, you can explore a local market. I took a quick look around inside and then left shortly after. After leaving the market, I walked to the Catedral Metropolitana de Santa Ana de Canarias. On the way, I enjoyed the charming old town atmosphere of Vegeta. The Catedral Metropolitana was truly impressive, with a strong sense of history. Many people were taking photos there. After that, I walked toward Casa de Colón, which is located right next to the cathedral. The path to Casa de Colón was also beautiful, full of historic charm and old-world atmosphere. The entrance to the Casa de Colón Museum came into view. The entrance fee was around €4, and credit card payment was accepted. The museum had many items that Columbus used, all well preserved and displayed, so there was much more to see than I expected. It was clear that everything had been carefully maintained. It was fascinating to see the typical house structure from that era on display. After leaving Casa de Colón, I walked for about 4 minutes to grab a coffee. While walking, I also took a few more photos of the beautiful scenery in Vegeta. It was lovely to see people enjoying drinks and meals outdoors, having a peaceful time. I arrived at Boutique Hotel Cordial Plaza Mayor de Santa Ana to have my coffee. Being a boutique hotel, the atmosphere inside was nice. Since I was only going to the rooftop, I just used the elevator to get there. It was in the morning, so there were no other guests around. When you get to the rooftop, you'll find the Terraza Belvedere. The view from here is stunning. You can see not only the cathedral but also the surrounding cityscape. I ordered a latte and a light appetizer here, enjoying a relaxing break. It was quiet, the weather was perfect, and the view was amazing, such a peaceful moment to myself. It seems to get busier in the evening, but if you go when it's less crowded, you can truly enjoy a sense of calm. After that, I thought about where to have lunch and decided to walk to Fidismo, located near Mercado de Vegeta. On the way, I saw a beautiful tree and stopped to take a photo of it. Fidismo seemed like a vegetarian restaurant. Since it looked comfortable for solo dining, I decided to go in and give it a try. I ordered a sampler of homemade dishes along with a coffee and really enjoyed the meal. They serve very healthy food. The owner and staff were incredibly friendly, which made the experience even better. After lunch, I walked about 4 minutes to Calle Mayor de Triana, a popular shopping street. Many people were out shopping, and I stopped by Zara, where I found some clothes at good prices. The styles were much more varied and fashionable compared to what I usually see in the US, which was a nice surprise. I walked back toward the Mercado de Vegeta bus stop. I waited for the bus at the AV Rafael Cabrera, 2 bus stop and got off at Eduardo Bonat, Frente 5, which is near the hotel. While walking near the hotel, I spotted a nail salon, and the prices were definitely more affordable than in the US. That evening, I had a delightful meal with my husband's colleagues and friends at Tosca La Lonja. The weather was perfect, and it was a lovely time enjoying good food with great people. On Tuesday, I went to Cruz de Tejeda. I took the bus in the morning and got off first at a place called San Mateo. Taking this bus allowed me to see some truly local scenery, which was a great experience. When I arrived in San Mateo, I had to wait over 40 minutes for the next bus, so I went to a nearby supermarket, Super Dino. I used the restroom, bought some water, and even picked up a charging cable at Ferrobox while waiting. I waited for the next bus and finally got on. When getting on at the stop, you just need to listen for the driver to tell you to tap your credit card. You shouldn't tap it in advance, only do so when the driver asks. From San Mateo, I took the bus for about 40 minutes to Cruz de Tejeda. The route winds through the mountains, with the bus steadily climbing higher into the hills. When I got off at the Cruz de Tejeda stop, the air was incredibly fresh and clean. The scenery was also beautiful and breathtaking. From Tejeda, I could see the Roque Nublo, a volcanic rock located in the center of the island. It's known as a popular hiking destination on the island. Right across from the Cruz de Tejeda bus stop, you'll see the Parador de Cruz de Tejeda. This hotel was established in 1928 and has a long history. It seems like many travelers who rent cars and explore the island choose to stay here for a relaxing vacation. The hotel is famous for its stunning views, and I had booked the basic spa circuit for that day. The spa experience cost around €40. If you ask at the front desk, they'll tell you where the spa is located. You go down to the first floor, check in again at the spa reception, and receive a robe and key before using the facilities. Although the spa is mainly used by hotel guests, it seems to be open to outside visitors as well. It wasn't crowded, so I was able to enjoy a quiet and relaxing spa experience. The indoor spa area wasn't very large and had fairly standard facilities. The highlight of this spa is the outdoor pool, which offers a direct view of the stunning mountain landscape. You can fully enjoy the natural beauty while relaxing in the water. The pool is quite deep, so you need to be able to swim, as your feet won't touch the bottom. Still, being in the water while taking in the incredible view was a refreshing and unforgettable experience. Seeing the mountains and sky from the pool was something I had never experienced before. After spending about 50 minutes at the spa, I went to the cafe upstairs for lunch. From the cafe, you can enjoy the same stunning view of the mountains and landscape. Sitting by the window and enjoying a coffee felt absolutely wonderful. I ordered a chicken sandwich here, and it was absolutely delicious. The portion was so large that I was already full after eating about half of it. I spent a peaceful time there until it was almost time for the last bus. As the bus time approached, I took some photos around the hotel. The bus stop directly across from the hotel was quite small, which felt a bit creepy, but I managed to catch the bus and head down the mountain safely. As we descended, I was amazed by the clouds and the view of the mountain villages. The bus schedule was limited, so getting all the way to Parador de Cruz de Tejeda wasn't easy, but the scenery was so beautiful, and the time spent there was so precious that it was definitely worth the trip. I felt really happy about going there and returning. After visiting Parador de Cruz de Tejeda, I returned to the hotel around 7 p.m. My husband and his acquaintance were having dinner at Taberna Chica near Playa de las Canteras, so I joined them there a bit late. The seafood was absolutely delicious. Being on an island, all the seafood was incredibly fresh and tasty. The next day, I decided to take it easy and stay close to the hotel to recover from the long bus journey. I went out to the beach and took a short walk along the shore. After a while, I walked to Nacre restaurant, which was just a 5-minute walk from the hotel, to have lunch. It seemed like a Michelin-recommended restaurant. The atmosphere was wonderful, and the staff was extremely friendly. I started with a glass of wine, and it was absolutely delicious. The bread was incredibly tasty, and the dish with eel and asparagus was also delicious. The egg yolk and bacon dish wasn't bad, but the rich texture and greasiness of the yolk felt a bit heavy for my taste. The prices were reasonable, and the calm atmosphere with beautiful presentation made it a pleasant dining experience. It seems popular with tourists, likely due to its high Google reviews. That afternoon, I decided to take a slow walk to CC Las Arenas after lunch. On the way, I noticed a hair salon where a haircut was only €9. It seemed very affordable. While walking, I got thirsty and stopped by Café Regina Mesa y Lopez for an apple, kiwi, and cucumber juice. It had a very fresh and healthy taste, and I enjoyed it a lot. After about a 25-minute walk from the cafe, I arrived at the CC Las Arenas Mall. I did some shopping at Primark and Carrefour, then returned to the hotel to relax. That evening, we went back to Taberna Chica by Playa de las Canteras, right next to the hotel, to enjoy another delicious seafood meal with some of my husband's other colleagues. It was a lovely time spent with good people. The next day, I visited a small town called Arucas. It's located about 20 minutes west of Las Palmas by car, but it takes around 50 minutes by bus. I took the bus from a nearby stop called Juan M. Duran and got off at the Arucas bus station. From there, it was about a 7-minute walk to reach the old town. As I walked toward the Parroquia de San Juan Bautista de Arucas, I saw a sign like this near the information center. The weather was beautiful, which made everything look even more picturesque. The old-fashioned charm of the area remained well preserved, making it look truly beautiful. The Parroquia de San Juan Bautista de Arucas was grand and impressive. I took a short break on a nearby bench and enjoyed the beautiful sunshine. After that, I walked about 7 minutes to have lunch at Restaurante Ciudad de Arucas. I sat at an outdoor table and ordered a glass of white wine. The wine was excellent, crisp and refreshing. I had the moloso rice with cod and prawns, and it was absolutely delicious. As always, food in Spain rarely disappoints, flavorful and satisfying wherever you go. After lunch, I took a leisurely walk around Arucas again. I visited the rooftop of Hotel Emblematico Arucas. The old-fashioned vibe gave the place a charming and cozy atmosphere. I ordered a drink at the Emblematica rooftop of the hotel and enjoyed the stunning view. After relaxing on the rooftop, I headed back to the Club Pensionista bus stop, as the bus departure time approached. I checked the bus schedule and stop on Google Maps, but the bus didn't arrive on time, and I ended up waiting longer than expected. It seemed that the buses weren't as punctual in the more remote areas. The bus runs along the coast, offering beautiful views of the sea. The scenery was stunning as I traveled. While riding the bus, I got off at the CC Las Arenas Mall bus stop instead of the one near the hotel. I did some shopping at Carrefour, where I bought a red wine labeled Rioja and a white wine. I also bought a lot of olive oil. The Spanish red wine, especially the Rioja, was a hit when I brought it back home and shared it with friends. They were all impressed. Definitely get the Rioja red wine. After resting at the hotel, I went with my husband to a pincho place called Pincho J, which was near the hotel, for dinner. Pinchos are small snacks that are different from tapas in that they are typically served on a skewer or toothpick. They are usually displayed at the bar, and you choose what you want, then, you pay later based on how many you've taken. Each one was delicious. The baguette bread was topped with olive oil or sauce, so it wasn't dry, it was moist and flavorful. Also, the price was very affordable. The next day, since my husband's conference was off, we went together to the southern part of the island. We first walked to the Estación Santa Catalina bus stop to catch our bus. On the way, we stopped at a cafe called Nuevo Rio Las Palmas for a quick breakfast. Shops and cafes near bus stations like this one were surprisingly affordable. Near the bus stop, we also saw this Las Palmas sign. We took the bus from the Santa Catalina bus station. It's a convenient hub for traveling to different parts of the island, especially to the southern beach towns. We planned to rent a car for a day near the hotel, but since we had to return the car early the next morning to go to airport, and the local rental company didn't open early enough, we couldn't return the car on time. So, we had to give up on the car rental and ended up traveling by bus instead. We were heading to Purchel Beach Club, so we took a bus that took about 1 hour and 20 minutes and got off at the nearby Casa Memo bus stop. From there, it was about a 12-minute walk. The path to the beach club was not very well maintained. Purchel Beach Club is owned by the resort Cordial Santa Agueda, and the facilities were very clean and well maintained. Even if you're not staying at the resort, you can access the beach club for about €34 per person. I had made a reservation in advance and paid at the check-in desk. Since we arrived in the morning, it wasn't crowded. Once you enter, a staff member will assign you a spot, usually a sunbed or lounger. They also offer a welcome drink upon entry. You can spend the whole day there relaxing. Be sure to bring your swimsuit, there are changing rooms where you can change comfortably. This resort opened in 2022, so the facilities are very clean and well maintained. The highlight is the stunning view of the Atlantic Ocean from the pool. You can relax and spend a peaceful time lying on the sunbeds. I spent quite a bit of time in the infinity pool. The view of the Atlantic Ocean from the pool is so open and refreshing, it really lifts my mood. For lunch, we went to Restaurante La Araceria, which is connected to the pool. While we were on the sunbed, the staff came over and asked which restaurant we wanted to have lunch at, so the reservation was already made in advance. Since it's also operated by the resort, the service was very friendly and excellent. We ordered the rice with octopus and scallops, as well as the grilled sea bass. The white wine we ordered was also excellent. The rice was not only delicious but also came in a generous portion. The sea bass was also perfectly cooked and enjoyable. Most of all, the presentation was neat and elegant, which made the whole dining experience even better. I highly recommend this restaurant. We spent the rest of the afternoon relaxing at the beach club before heading to our next destination. At the check-in area, we asked the staff to call a taxi for us. After about a 20-minute ride, we arrived in Puerto de Mogan. We briefly looked around Shopping Center Plaza Mogan, but there wasn't anything particularly special about it. We bought some water at the nearby Superdino Mogan and decided to take a walk around Puerto de Mogan. Puerto de Mogan is a small coastal town located on the southwest side of the island. It's filled with resorts and hotels, and it seems to attract many tourists during the summer season. We took a walk toward the Puerto de Mogan lookout. As you walk toward the lookout, you can get closer to the coastline. The cafes and restaurants along the way had a pleasant and inviting atmosphere. To reach the Puerto de Mogan lookout, you need to walk uphill along a sloped path. As you go higher, you start to see more of the ocean view coming into sight. When you reach the lookout point, a full panoramic view of the coastline unfolds before you. After spending time at the lookout point, we headed to dinner. We had a 7 p.m. reservation at Restaurante Los Guerres, located inside Hotel Cordial Mogan Playa. It is known as a fine dining restaurant that has earned 1 Michelin star. We requested a table outside, with a lovely view of a small mountain. The meal was a set course, costing about €130 per person, and the wines served with the meal were all excellent. The staff was incredibly friendly as well. Each of the small appetizers was absolutely delicious. The portions were so generous that we were really full. By the time we finished the last dessert, nearly 2 hours had passed. Over that time, they served almost 13 dishes. The portions were more than expected. Still, it was wonderful to enjoy such delicious food at this price in Granada. I highly recommend this restaurant. We ended up having dinner so late at the restaurant that we missed the bus we were supposed to take. We had to wait for the next one, but it took longer since it was a local route. Eventually, we got off at a bus stop near the airport and took a taxi from there to the hotel. If we had rented a car, it would have been more convenient to explore the island. That's how we wrapped up our time in Gran Canaria. The next morning, we took a taxi to Granada Airport. At the airport Starbucks, I found a beautiful Canary Islands mug and decided to buy one as a souvenir. We spent some time at the Solid Valdos lounge in the airport. My husband left for Madrid first, and I followed about an hour later. However, due to a delay on my Iberia flight to Madrid, I missed the Washington, D.C. bound flight that I was supposed to take with my husband. As soon as I arrived at the gate in Madrid, I was handed a new ticket for the next day's flight, along with a hotel and meal voucher. The person who gave me the vouchers offered no explanation, and since this was my first time in such a situation, I spent a lot of time carefully examining the documents. To make things more confusing, the hotel and restaurant names listed on the vouchers didn't appear on Google Maps, which made me even more uncertain. While I was trying to figure things out, everyone at the gate had disappeared. There was no one to ask for help. After waiting quite a while, someone finally showed up again and told me to go ask at the Iberia check-in desk's customer service counter located level 2 in Terminal 4. There was a long line at the Iberia customer service desk, as many people were waiting to ask questions. It was incredibly frustrating to spend so much time just to ask a simple question. I couldn't understand why they didn't provide a brief explanation right at the gate when handing out the vouchers. It would have saved everyone a lot of time and confusion. At the customer service desk, they finally told me that the meal voucher could be used downstairs on the first floor at a place called Eating Point. The name of the restaurant wasn't written anywhere on the voucher, so I had to ask to find that out. The hotel name printed on the ticket was also slightly different from the actual name, so I had to double-check that too. They also informed me that the hotel shuttle would come to the first floor, but again, only after I asked. It was incredibly frustrating that passengers were left to figure everything out on their own. There should have been clear explanations as soon as the vouchers were handed out. It was especially overwhelming because English wasn't widely understood and it was my first time at that airport. Not knowing the language well in an unfamiliar place made the situation even more stressful. That day, many flights were delayed, so a large number of people were waiting for the hotel shuttle. After waiting for over 30 minutes, I finally got on the shuttle, and after about an 8-minute ride, I arrived at a place called Madrid Airport Suites. It seemed to be a hotel commonly used by Iberia Air for passengers affected by delays. They gave me a one-bedroom suite, so the room was spacious and quite nice. I opened the meal provided at the airport and had a lunch. The meal voucher also covered dinner that evening and breakfast the next morning at the hotel. I had a buffet-style dinner at the hotel's central market, which was quite crowded with many delayed passengers. I had dinner with my husband's friend, who was also affected by the flight delay. The next morning, breakfast was also provided buffet-style at the same place. I had a simple breakfast before heading to the airport. I waited for the hotel shuttle, but the hotel instructed me to go down to the basement and use the shuttle of Click Rent Madrid Aeropuerto, a car rental company. It seemed like the hotel had a partnership with the rental company. The shuttle took about 8 minutes to reach the airport. I spent some time at the Neptuno Lounge at Madrid Airport before heading to London. It took 2 hours to arrive in London, and I spent some time at the Club Aspire Lounge at Heathrow Airport. Then, I boarded a British Airways flight and after 8 hours, I arrived in Washington, D.C. I arrived in Washington, D.C. a day late, and my frustration built up. As soon as I got back, I filed complaints about the flight delay with Iberia Air and the Spanish aviation authorities. However, in the end, they were not accepted. It seems like they considered providing the hotel and meal vouchers as sufficient compensation. Gran Canaria looks stunning in pictures with its beautiful landscapes. However, upon arrival, you'll notice a more barren, desert-like scenery, with less lush vegetation, which gives the island a dry appearance. This is likely due to its proximity to the African continent. Despite this, Spanish food, especially seafood, is incredibly fresh and delicious. The cost of living isn't high, and the locals are warm and friendly. Additionally, there are charming, old-world sites and rich history, making visits to the small towns a delightful experience. The island's interior offers breathtaking mountain views, creating an unforgettable experience. Gran Canaria is a great vacation destination, with well-developed resorts, beaches, cafes, and restaurants, making it ideal for travel. The weather was clear throughout, making it pleasant no matter where I went. Since I traveled mostly alone and took the bus, I would recommend renting a car if you're traveling as a couple or family to better explore the island. It was not easy to travel from the US, but I'm grateful for this opportunity and the memories I made with my husband, as it was a truly liberating experience.